Notifications from people for like 5 years, maybe 6 years now, because I think I actually got a couple of them from people I'd reached out to before Natalie was killed. Don't quote me on that, it was now fucking damn near 6 years ago. Those messages my sister sent me about her being threatened, that ain't the first time, and it's not the first person, and I'm not sure how many of you have. Alright, so this is my little sister, this is my family, these are the people you don't fuck with. These are the ones you don't fuck with. I can fuck with them, this is my family. If I want to tell my sister she's ugly and her mama dresses are funny, I'm gonna tell her she's ugly and her mama dresses are funny. Me and my sister been fighting a battle against, I'm not sure if you've ever heard about these things, but they're called sexual predators. And we both have a very, very, very keen disliking for the ones that prey on children. I'm going to tell you about what my sister has had to go through. I had to go out of my way to, well, when my sister was scared. At the beginning, she didn't know that she needed to be scared of these other folks because she hadn't bothered to take a look at the evidence. She'd been pretty decently sheltered from it. I mean, for most of these folks, my sister didn't look into it. You know, for example, Brian Petito's family, right? There were probably relatives, Brian Petito's, that are looking at every little thing that they can on the internet and trying to get his story, but they just couldn't find him. But, you know, did any of my family want to actually find out what was going on? Did any of them reach out and try? Did any single one of my family do that? No, none of them did. With my little sister, she's afraid because people wanted to twist words that I had said into something that they ain't. And of course, alright, I could do that, I guess. Of course, it was more of a, my little sister did have to acknowledge in that very same conversation that she knows that I wasn't saying those things, that I wasn't saying that she was a drug dealer, that I wasn't saying that she was a child molester, that I wasn't saying Eric was a child molester. I mean, absolutely not. And she acknowledged that, but she said that these people, Ed and Riley Sr., of course, that conversation is on my YouTube channel too. She's talking about how they're saying there's rumors she's selling meth in Sydney or some crap like that. I'm like, see, that's the thing, Scott Decoste, where did he reach out and fucking touch me? Sydney. That's where he was able to arrest me on bogus charges. Well, he had someone else do it, didn't he? And in that video, they do a lot of illegal shit just in that video. But they were real nice about it, weren't they? One thing to note is that when you guys see those officers in Sydney, Nebraska walk into that room and take that computer, or when you see them walk into the room and arrest me, and then at the very end, you know, there's been nobody in the room for hours, and then Sydney Police Department comes in and takes that computer. They took literally just the electronic evidence against them. All of the evidence that I was trying to turn in against Robert Warnick, Sheriff Decoste, obviously Sheriff Decoste's entire department. I can't just say Decoste in that case. It's not just Decoste. It's Decoste and all of the fucking small town politics that helped him. You like how I put that? That would include Polly Olson. Alright, so let's work on this. After my sister was living in chapel and my grandma's funeral and that fucked up situation, my sister, you know, Graham was busy trying to, well, him and my sister were macking on each other, you know? Whatever. Anyway, that did take up a lot of the time that Tara had, and also a lot of the time with Graham. But you know what? I mean, it was my grandma's funeral, and my sister doesn't get to meet many new people. And in Chapel, Nebraska, it's a bunch of fucking ingrates. It ain't a pleasant place. She was getting ready to have knee surgery. She needed somebody to help her out with that. It's unfortunate because when she had her knee surgery, it was actually my mom that was gonna end up being her helper. And that, what the hell? That is scary. That is so scary, not just for me, that's scary for my sister. I mean, she explained to me how scared she was that mom was gonna come help. So, with her, when mom was pulling all that stuff back at the very beginning, mom was telling people, apparently, like Kimberly Vala Martinez, that she had tried to help me. I got the recordings with Tara already on YouTube. Obviously, between what my mom told Kimberly Vala Martinez and what I had said, which Kimberly Vala Martinez never bothered to hear, she didn't care. None of you cared. But I was able to verify with witnesses who were there and present that the situations were as I said they were. Of course, it's a little bit different perspective because my little sister remembered a whole lot about my mom not liking Tara's dress or her shofar and how she just wanted normal kids. And I think all four of us remember that. My grandma's funeral, that was just a few months after Natalie was killed. And I still had to jump through the courts at that time, and I still had to talk to all these different jurisdictions. That's one of the most fucked up things. Like, they abused me in all of these jurisdictions, and then I wasn't allowed to bring up any of those jurisdictions in court. They wouldn't look at the body cameras in the jails because the jails were with the sheriff's department. I'm like, those all need to be seen. I need copies of those. But it's always the same thing. You go in by yourself, and everybody has to hear excuses. Everyone. When you go in by yourself and you were legally entitled to that evidence, and you should be allowed to go walk down into the sheriff's department and get that evidence, and they're denying it to you. Or you go into the hospital and your hospital paperwork, they're denying you. I got so many recordings with hospitals, it's not even funny. It shows you that Scott Decoste has the ability to reach out and touch somebody. Scott Decoste has the ability to use Sydney Sheriff's Department and Sydney Police Department, Cheyenne County Sheriff's Department, and Cheyenne Police Department, and Nebraska Patrol. All he's got to do is press false charges on me, and magically, he can use all of them. That's just where my sister lives, because Scott DeCosta is the Dual County Sheriff, not the Cheyenne County Sheriff. That's right. That's right. He was able to utilize another jurisdiction to victimize the fuck out of me for trying to turn him in. For trying to turn in Leslie Snell, his receptionist. And of course, Robert Franklin Warnick, as we all know. Now, my little sister, after my grandma died, that was a few years ago, right? And what happened in between there and now? Well, I told Tara to pretend I was the bad guy, and when all of this started to blow over and it was safe for her to come forward and tell the truth, and, she could do that. So Tara played like I was the bad guy, and she went and stayed with Amber, and Amber is the daughter of a registered sex offender, and Tara had to live there with my niece because she didn't have anywhere else to go. Mom isn't going to help her. Tara was kind of mom's favorite for a while there. That's just because Michael's dumb as a stump. Like, I don't know how to explain to you how stupid my little brother is. But with my sister, and of course, people telling me she seemed like she was aloof, like she was on meth, like she was wanting to. Well, I had to listen to people who were informed from their own points of view and from their own perspectives. And I think that it is only right for my little sister to be able to defend herself as far as that goes. Just I keep bouncing back and forth in the timeline, and it's not much fun. It's not much fun for me either, because all this stuff ties in together. Tara was going to help me. Family intimidated Tara into not helping me, ostracized and ridiculed her, and then Tara had to move in with a child molester because she didn't have any assistance. My mom, during that period of time, was assisting 3 separate child molesters. That'd be my little brother Michael and Andrew Witcher and my grandpa. His name was Brian Brooms. That asshole died of colon cancer. Alright, back to the story. So then Tara's living there, and I'm pissed off. Like, at this point, I am not happy. When I found out Tara was living with a registered sex offender, I about fucking flipped my shit. Come to find out, a good deal of that was because of the situation with Natalie, and because, well, not in specific with Tara, but because of the family's stance on that, and because Tara did try to help me and did want to help me. And I guess there was, and this is just rumors, I haven't verified it with Tara because I'm trying to keep her safe. And she's probably afraid that because there were so many different law enforcement agencies involved, it is verified. Those people do those things on YouTube. They say the things I told you they said on YouTube. Now, you guys might go through and watch a video and you say, Sean, I listened to the video. Those cops don't say that to you. They say this. And you know what? They're right. I got multiple videos. The point of that is that they're telling me, no, that's not what the cop said. Actually, that same cop, I got him in another video saying what I told you he told me the first time. How many of the videos did you watch with the recordings with the Dual County Sheriff's Department? How many did you listen to? Did you listen to them in chronological order? Anyway, I continued to speak up about the situation, and my sister having to stay with a chimo, that was not something I wanted to hear or deal with. And knowing that Tara was the caretaker, well, I guess it's the job, but, I mean, anyway, Tara got out of there, and that's actually during the video that's at the very top of my channel on YouTube, the law enforcement at its finest. That one right there is when Amber got a hold of me, and meanwhile, Tara is supposed to be pretending like she's scared of me. Tara is supposed to be pretending like I'm some sort of a monster that she doesn't like and whatnot and so on. So, like, Tara knows the routine. She knows the fear factor. She knows. She's gone through the checklist before. Let's say that. We're both familiar with domestic violence and domestic abuse, and, she was married for a time, and I, have been all over the place. I mean, we've got a lot of varied experience when it comes to that, and we're fighting battles from different sides of the same coin. When my sister's scared, she might lie. The more scared she is, the more likely it is. But she also works hard to try to be a good Christian mom. I mean, she legit does try hard to do that. There is no doubt in my mind that if she had the chance and the opportunity to come forward and be honest about all this in court, there is no doubt in my mind my little sister would do it. The problem is for her living in the positions that she's had to live in and the conditions that she's had to live in, like she should have had a place of her own. Now she was when I was sent to prison, Tara was hopefully gonna help me. But other than that, Tara was living where she was living, still living, and she needed it. She might still be living there, but she needed a safe environment. And I was gonna donate $200 a month so that she could try to get herself a place. But then I was arrested. How am I gonna send her anything? And I get out and she's at the same place. And you know, we're, at that point in time, we got her some of the stuff that she needed to try to monitor the situation at her place. Once she started putting up the cameras, though, stuff started happening less because, I mean, it's not like they're real inconspicuous. They made a big show, and chances are pretty good. It's just the kids across the railroad tracks. I've seen them out there flying their drone. It's the same kids that fly the drone over at the park. The only reason I know that it's them is because they were out there playing with it one day when I went to visit them a couple of years ago. When I went to go visit Riley, anyway. Now, with my sister in the situation that she's in now, or when I left anyway, with her being followed by the cops and threatened by somebody in Colorado, I mean, that denotes Decoste and also Bollingers, and also it shows the MO. I mean, it's been going on through this entire time. People offered to help me, cops harassed them, and so do the Bollingers. They're getting hit from both fucking sides. How the hell am I not supposed to say something about this? My little sister, in that, yes, she got hit by both sides. Cops followed her. This is not the first time this shit's happened to her, and now I've got some stuff to send her because, like, when she started putting up the house cameras, I helped her to get some of those. They didn't have shit on them, and they didn't understand how to triangulate, but that was because it had been ongoing and the cops wouldn't do anything. With Tara's friend Ed being kind of nutty, I always thought he just stories just try to impress people. But, it turns out he is schizoaffective, and that's also a scary prospect for me. And a scary prospect for my niece. Not that he would ever hurt my niece or harm my niece, but the things that he might potentially teach my niece, I am afraid of. Luckily, Riley taught her how to shoot. I fully support the Second Amendment, and my niece's right to shoot a son of a bitch who tries to touch her. So keep your nasty cockbeaters to yourself. My niece has been taught how to safely operate and fire a firearm, okay? That doesn't mean that she is open carrying. That doesn't mean that she has the availability or access to them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It does mean that she knows how to safely handle one, how to not blow off her own foot, her own head, or yours on accident, and of course, how to safely clear a breach. My sister, not so much. My sister knows how to shoot. She is a good shot. But my sister happened to still go through this. When she was pretending like I was the bad guy, when it was when that was going on, as long as she pretended that I was the bad guy, things did not go too completely horrible as far as threats and harassment went. They're like, oh, well, she's on our side, she's on our side, she's on our side. But no, she was fucking biding her time, same as me. She was in a subservient environment. She's still in a subservient environment. Why wouldn't she be scared? So I got dozens of recordings of professionals that I went to, and their excuses for not coming forward, for not doing anything, is being afraid of losing their jobs. Some of these people have jobs with the state. Some of these people have jobs at local schools, local high schools. Some of them are nurses in, all sorts of different places. But what needs to be known is that all of these people, them not doing their jobs, the ones who are mandated reporters, they're not doing their job. I want you to look into the mandated reporter shit, and I want you to see how it doesn't help the victims. It victimizes the victims. When you are bullied to the point that you want your life to end, and you go tell people, hey, I need help stopping these bullies. They're trying to bully me to the point that I want my life to be over. And blam, you're getting drugs injected into you in a fucking institution in fucking Scottsbluff, Nebraska. Don't be stupid. You can't even tell the truth about your fucking predators. You can't even tell these people how horribly these people have treated you, that they have fucking pushed you to that point. You can't even say that. You cannot even say that. That is what mandated reporters actually give a shit about. If you can go to mandated reporter after mandated reporter and tell them about abuse that you're going through, right? And after 6 weeks of going to these fucking appointments, you're still trying to get help because these predators are still in town and you still need help. And they're getting away with it by calling you mentally ill and pretending you're schizophrenic. And you're going to all these different therapists who are like, well, you're not schizophrenic. You're probably out. Have you ever heard of Asperger's? Ah, yes, I have. What are you telling me? Yes, I was gonna get tested when I was younger. Me and my dad decided it was a bad idea because autistic people, even highly intelligent ones, get treated like they're fucking retarded. So we decided against it. But yes, I've heard of it. Well, you're definitely not schizophrenic. And then you get to hear the things that they say in those, like Marcia Estrada. She's on my YouTube channel here too. It's not that I didn't go for help. You see how going to these professionals for help, these mandated reporters in multiple states, some of them people that I love and care about so much, and they claim to love me, but even then, their fear of losing their jobs or their fear for their families superseded their requirements by law to report these things. Many of them are angry with me because I spoke up. You know what? I spoke up because you didn't. Do I hate Terry Wilmuth Jepson? Absolutely not. Do I hate Leslie Snell? Absolutely not. What's the best way to keep people from target of opportunitying her? Staying the hell away from her. When people say, why'd you move away from your sister? Why didn't you go over there and protect her? If I'm over there, do you seriously think that that is going to make her safer? That will absolutely make her even more of a target. I can't go stay with my sister. She lives in her ex's dad's backyard in a trailer. Not a big trailer either. This is a tiny pop-up fucking camper thingy. Like, no. Are you fucking insane? That is too close. That is too close. One of the things with Mandy Hughes, she got to hear and read and see multiple things from multiple officers about multiple things, and she got to speak up about those things. And guess what? She also looked those things up. Unlike actually everyone else I know, they didn't want to see it as a big major deal. And even when more people ended up dead, people didn't want to see it or take it as a big major deal. They wanted to pretend like I must have been the bad guy. Now, of course, once we tried to create a situation where my sister could come out and could speak, you get to see how quickly that was shut down by Dual County Sheriff's Department with me getting arrested and put in prison. They had to drop the charges. How many of you have heard of somebody going to prison without being convicted and then having to drop the charges? So I literally don't have a felony, but I've still served time in a penitentiary for trying to keep my sister and my niece safe. Not just my sister and my niece, but also Candace Bondurant and her kids, because she spoke up before ever finding out what was going on with the Natalie thing. All of those people that immediately started arguing with people on Facebook and in Facebook groups about Natalie Bollinger, all of those people who are targeted, okay, all of those people who are targeted, who are telling me that they were targeted, who are scaring the fucking hell out of me. Meanwhile, Natalie's own family is getting a hold of me and telling me how fucking they're afraid they are for them and their kids and how fucking scary Ted is. And Sean, don't kill yourself. If you kill yourself, you might get away. Yeah, they said if you kill yourself, Ted might get away. But if I don't kill myself, they're going to continue going after my friends and family. Especially people who are too stupid to keep their yap shut before speaking up for me. Like Candace Bondurant. I love her for that. I really do. Candace is a bitch. That is my favorite thing about Candace. She is a fucking mama bear, but she's a fucking mean one. It's great. Candace Bondurant has a fucking powerful goddamn voice. But even she was intimidated. Even Candace Bondurant was intimidated by police. By Haxton Sheriff's Department. Or sorry, that would be Sedgwick County Sheriff's Department, I believe. The stuff from the other day, what was it, day before yesterday with those officers. I mean, fucking one day in a parking lot, living in a parking lot, melts into another day of living in a parking lot, into another day of living in a parking lot. And next thing you know, you don't know which day it is. You got to look on your phone for that, thank goodness. But I mean, you go, all right, was it 4 days ago or 5 days ago I talked to that asshole? All because I need somebody in person to go in with me to turn that in and to get the body camera evidence of this is how we are treated when we're alone. I need somebody here in person just to get that information, and I have to pay them to get those body cameras so that I can show how I was treated, how I was bullied and harassed and intimidated. Here in Hood River, yes, I say nice. That's not the same thing as good. If you're going to intimidate a victim who's trying to turn in one of your buddies, you're going to intimidate him when he tries to turn that in. What the fuck is wrong with you? You're a special kind of stupid. So I'm starting up nicknames for him as suppose that was not a velociraptor. Sometimes when I belch, I tell people it's a velociraptor. Did you hear that velociraptor? But where am I going with all this? Well, I'll tell you, the safety of my sister. She's still got to be in that area. If I'm as far away from my sister as possible, they cannot blame me for shit that happens in Chapel, Nebraska to fucking crooks like Leslie Snell. I don't give a fuck if you got kids. That doesn't make you fucking Saint Mary or fucking Saint Andrew, the fucking thirstiest. Jesus. A lot of these people, you tell me that being afraid for their kids is a valid excuse. You're right. You're right. And that's why I'm fucking speaking up. That's why I'm fighting for them. But they have to play stupid now. Because they want to save face, and in some cases, they gotta fucking protect themselves. Law enforcement is a brotherhood of inaccountability. Once in a while, they gotta sacrifice a brother on the altar of stupidity to keep the masses of fucking mobs of morons at bay. But other than that, they can basically operate with impunity towards any homeless individual or broke enough individual that they so choose. They know that if they arrest a black man, that they're more likely to get a conviction out of a white jury. You know, even black juries are more likely to convict black people. How weird is that? And in what states is that? I want to know if that's an every state thing or if it was just a couple of states. So my sister's still there. She has to be afraid to come forward. We're not going to be in communication for a bit unless I have to type something mean to her. And everything mean that I type, she already knows what it means when I type it at her, so she's aware of what to do. And of course, I gotta pretend to be crazy in order to get anybody to fucking listen. My little sister tried to do the right thing, and my own family intimidated her. When Tara talked to me about the situation with her being called a druggie and stuff, you know what? I did apply that to the internet, and I did go and seek the advice of people who are tweakers from what they were able to see, of course. Now, just because those tweakers or former tweakers see it in a particular way doesn't mean that it is that way. It's just that I did have to defer to somebody else to ask, does it seem like she's telling the truth? Or, you know, what's your assessment of the situation? Mandy thought my sister might be on drugs too. So, of course, that's a question I did pose to the public, and not that anybody cared. However, that still literally does not make it true. Just because a tweaker says so doesn't mean it's so. And is Mandy a tweaker? No, 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 no. She's trying to be a good grandma. Mandy needs safety too, but my priority is absolutely my sister and my niece. As a matter of fact, more than one niece. Because while I don't have to ever worry about Tara doing anything like that, Michael, yeah. Now, because of the people who wanted to pose the question about my sister being a druggie and a drug dealer, and because my sister in specific had cited that, and because Mandy had specifically noticed it, well, absolutely, that's probably something that I should take note of, and I should take note of those people's experience. I don't know if Riley Sr. has a lot of experience with meth, but he does have kind of the hookup and is kind of in on the loop of, well, random knowledge you can get in Sidney, Nebraska. So of course, if that's the best way to make my sister safe is to, well, make her push real heavy that I'm the bad guy again. I got to do that, right? No, it's already too late. The fucking gig's up. We already played that one. We had to play that one for the safety of evidence, for the safety of my niece, and the safety of my fucking sister. And it's stupid because it made things worse and made it so my sister had to take my niece and go live with a child molester. Meanwhile, my mom could have helped out my sister, but instead of my mom helping out my sister, she helps out three child molesters. What the fuck, mom? Holy Jesus, mom, what the fuck is wrong with you? My mom helped my predators get away. My sister was one of those predators once, and only once. And she apologized to me for it. She apologized to me for that years ago. Years ago. Absolutely, I love my little sister. Absolutely, I'm going to continue speaking out. And if you don't want to look at the fucking evidence and you don't want to speak out and you're going to allow these things to happen to me, you want to tell me about how you can't because of your autistic son, because of your autistic daughter. You can't speak out because of your job as a nurse. You can't speak out because of all of these other reasons. You know what? This is going to make it so the next generation is the same. You can't actually protect your own children, can you? How many of you parents can honestly tell me that you're not afraid of the government coming and taking your kid? Now, when I say the government, we know all these different agencies. We know that your kid might get picked up on bullshit charges. You know, he wants to go down and hang out on Pearl Street with some homeless people and fucking slum it up, but he's an upper middle class white kid. Of course, he looks like a fucking bum. He walks around with a backpack that's fucking filled with stupid shit. And yeah, when he gets arrested, mom and dad aren't happy. But for him, you know, he's just slumming it up. His mom and dad get him out of everything. We don't get that. We don't. People helped me for the first time ever in my life in some of these aspects, like getting bailed out of jail. Now, that had never happened previously. Also, them pretending that I wouldn't show up to court because I was locked up and charging me with shit that I didn't fucking do. Like, how is it possible that they were able to charge me with things that I literally could not have done because I was locked up? Does that make any sense whatsoever? That's stupid. And using that to prevent somebody from their rights to turn in the courts and to redress their grievances. But no. They did everything that they could to prevent that. The judges, the public pretenders. And you guys go, oh, well, you're crazy, you're crazy, you're crazy. Well, you know what? I'm not crazy. If you'd have helped me get the fucking body cam evidence, you can see the shit that I told you about on the outs is true. You can also see how these people want to fucking backtrack and play stupid after they get to, well, these people should go back and listen to their own voices on my YouTube channel instead of listening to what other people told them. It was never me threatening to kill people in Natalie's family. It was never, ever threats to kill anybody at all until after Natalie was dead. By that point, I had taken so many threats against my life. And everywhere I went, these cops who were fucking threatening, harassing, and intimidating people who were trying to help me are telling me they can't investigate it. It's not their job. It's wrong jurisdiction. And then I'm being told I got to go to those same exact officers to turn in those officers because of what those officers did to me and my friends as far as that intimidation goes. Case in point, Candace Bondurant and Michael Beard. You guys are nuttier than fucking squirrel turds. You believe whatever the fuck Rob Gavigan tells you, but you won't look at the actual goddamn motherfucking evidence. Holy hell. Praise the Lord, almondy cheese and rice and all that jazz. Moral of the story here is my sister needs a safe environment. Also, Amy Witcher, well, if somebody was to offer her a safe environment, not as a boyfriend, not as a guy saying that her and her kids can move in, if somebody was to offer her her own place and to not to have those expectations, maybe she would leave Andrew. Of course, she might be fucking scared shitless of him, and probably is. So my mom helped Andrew Witcher, the child molester, get into a place, and my sister was forced to go stay with a child molester during that period of time. No, that's not true, is it? Because of the timeline. Am I incorrect about that? Because Amy and Andrew Witcher, they lived in Sidney, Nebraska, right across the street from the high school there. During that period of time, that was during the same period of time where, God, what else was going on? Desiree was staying with me and fucking trying to recover from the trap house there in Cheyenne. She's recorded admitting all that stuff too. Like I got all this stuff. It's just getting somebody to help me send it out and put it together without having to constantly move through this. I mean, as impossible as it is for me to go through this stuff in these conditions, to be able to go through my crap, my sister being able to do that while taking care of another human being, while living in a subservient position, she knows that whether or not she's allowed to stay there or live and breathe is dependent entirely upon the people who own the property or own the house. Like, she's got to walk on eggshells. Everybody does when you're a tenant who lives so close to your landlord. I don't believe that my sister is on meth. The reason for this, because I have seen my sister when she's scared. When she is really scared of getting in trouble, or when she just got an ass whooping, my sister gets scared. Scared the bejesus out of you scared. And when she is scared the bejesus out of you scared, yeah, she is in self-preservation mode. She is in I need to protect myself mode. She is scared. Same as me. So there's a lot of things where my sister, I looking at the situation, the severity of the situation and the way that it was being handled, I do believe that it was a lot more of the fact that she just wasn't taking it as seriously as she needed to, and that majority of the issues that I had with the situation was her friend Ed and his mom being there, because we needed to get some work done, and there's no way I can handle, especially Ed. Nora isn't too bad, but they both want to do the story time, and both of them tell some pretty out there stories. If my sister lied, she's scared. If she's scared, then why? Why is my sister scared? Now, I've already got it recorded why she's fucking scared. We've also got it recorded when her friend, or when her ex's other ex, Amber, the one that she was staying with the child molester, was getting a hold of me and letting me know where Tara was and what she was doing and who she was with. And I'm like, holy shit, Jesus, holy fucking shit. Like, that's some fucking vindictive shit right there. Oh, Tara doesn't want to stay here anymore, and her brother was accused of murdering somebody to death on TV. And then here's Tara, and Tara fucking followed instructions. Perfect. I mean, oh my god, my sister is badass. She knows the routine. Y'all know that sometimes you gotta do shit to protect yourself and your loved ones. You know you got to. I know I got to. I know that it's essential until we can come together and work together. But until then, it's a matter of holding tight. Hold tight. Hold fast. But we don't get to do that. I'm in a constant state of movement and I'm fucking freaking out. On the bright side, Leslie doesn't get to pretend like I'm trying to harm her. I really would like some assistance in, well, obviously, Megan Missigatis has not tried to turn it into law enforcement, and obviously, Marcia Estrada has not tried to turn it into law enforcement. I'm not sure if you guys saw how I was treated by law enforcement, but we need to get the cameras because there's a reason that I'm scared to talk to the cops alone. Those body cameras, when I was trying to tell them here about these things that are going on, like I couldn't get anything in edgewise. They were fucking assholes. I mean, by this point, I've already literally admitted all this shit on my YouTube. But still, I can't even get to that part with the cops. They can't stop being fucking assholes. I gotta fucking talk nice banter. If I talk nice banter, then I might be able to slip in one or two of the important details before they all start talking over me real quick. It's a fucking art and a science trying to talk with Piggly Wigglies who have been trained to play word games and shoot Negroes and hobos. I should probably tell you something about both of those words. Number one, I was told that I can't call myself a hobo. That a hobo is a homeless person from Hoboken, New Jersey. So if I've never been to Hoboken, New Jersey, I can't be a hobo. Also, I've been told that African American is insulting, and I've been told that I should use the word Negro. And I thought to myself, you know, it's fitting that these are like two of the biggest groups that are fucked with by cops, and they sound very similar phonically. I guess it's just the O on the end. So you could also put bimbo, which would be, depending on your definition, could be potentially a prostitute. And of course, that would also be somebody who falls into those categories. How many officers have we found out recently, again? And of course, the last batch was a couple of judges too, wasn't it? That were messing with prostitutes and got busted doing so, and were involved in human trafficking. And of course, we get this stuff all over the news. People go, oh, man, that's conspiracy theories. I'm like, you know what? There's 23 dudes on the news last night fucking got busted in a sting. They're all fucking arrested. When people tell me, oh, Sean, that's not going to do any good, it's not going to do any good, coming forward is not going to do any good, I'm like, shit, bitch. I got enough evidence in my fucking evidence locker to fucking put, like, quite a few people away. But the thing is, how do you keep the fucking victims safe? I mean, sure, if you have an emergency situation and if you have to post that up, you know, that's one thing. But that was where the situation came to a head for me, is that when mandated reporters weren't doing their jobs, and I had to fucking play stupid. And my sister had to play stupid. Why did we have to play stupid? So we could get people talking. Great thing about getting those people with them letters behind their names and their badges and their guns and their fancy titles of treasurer and such, clerk. The great thing is, I did record all that stuff. And as long as I am away from chapel, I can hopefully find a place to work on it. But then there's also Washington State. They pulled similar stuff. And that's not cops everywhere going around and going, oh, we're just going to make this guy's life a living hell because it's some conspiracy against me. No, it's just literally the life of being fucking homeless. I don't want my sister to be homeless, but she's in an extreme subservience right now. I'm not able to set up this financial stuff. I was gonna try to send her. I got a couple of dash cams in here because she was saying that she had people following her, and that is a possibility. I mean, not trying to sound crazy or nothing, but a lot of people were telling me that, that they were being followed at the time, and that this was happening or that was happening, and I do want to give them the benefit of the doubt. I do want them also to have the ability to defend themselves. And I figured since the two body cameras, or not body cameras that I have, dash cameras that I have, one of them's forward for the forward facing and one of them's for rear facing. Find it. Well, those would come in handy. But with the situation as it's going right now, hopefully on the 1st, I need to get some sort of legal action started against these officers because I do need to show you how the homeless and the mentally ill are treated, and of course how the police prime the public so that when the police decide that they're going to harm somebody, the public will support them. One of those things that's very important to do is to discredit those homeless people immediately. Also, if you can get those homeless people to not talk to each other or associate with each other, that's much more useful as well. But them youngins and that racist old bastard, they didn't like them all that much, but they were glad that they had a roof over the head when they were hanging out with him. And of course, I wasn't going to make them hang out in my car. So we've got all these issues of poverty and these issues that both me and my sister are dealing with the subservience thereof. And then there's the fact that it is ongoing for years, and that it's not just my sister who I have recorded telling me about the threats or showing me the threats or anything like that. When I say there's hundreds, I mean there's hundreds. It's not just me. It's not just my little sister. It's not just Sarah Bacon. It's not just Kara Johnson, or not Kara Johnson, Carl Rogers and Aaron Cockerham. I mean, there's a lot of people throughout this telling me that them and their kids and their friends and their loved ones were being threatened and stuff over it. I mean, it's not like this is something that I was trying to hide from the general public. I don't know anybody who would try to hide that from the general public. Why would somebody try to hide that shit from the general public? Why would anyone try to hide that shit in court? You might want to go back and look at the timeline, folks.